Hello guys, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Midnight Storylines Official. Wherever you are, stay happy. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And please leave a review. Let me know how you liked today's episode. Today is the episode 4 of Symbol of Friendship, Part 1. Let's start.
Boray entered the kitchen and slammed both hands with full force on the white counter slab in the center. Furious, leaning slightly, he looked again at the disastrous state of the kitchen. He felt intense hatred for that existence, present in his mansion, but despite that intense hatred, he still couldn't throw her out on the streets. He also knew his family would never accept her. If she even left, they would kill her. They wouldn't show her mercy. Ah! Boray screamed and struck both hands on the slab again. He remembered that stormy night when she had kept knocking on the door in the pouring rain. But the door was never opened for her. He had listened to her sobs and screams all night long. If only that day I had ended her with my own hands, unloaded bullets into that existence's chest with my father Ibrahim Demir's gun. Girls like her, who run away for some lover, their place should be in the lowest layer of earth. He growled, striking both hands on the slab in rage. I cannot tolerate that filthy existence in my mansion anymore. And wherever she goes, whichever street she ends up on, she doesn't deserve any mercy. Burning with rage, he stormed toward Dilan's room again. As Boray entered the room, Dilan shrank back against the bed's headboard, seeing him. She was already terrified of him before. She only remembered Murin Yilmaz and Yusuf now. Boray's behavior and his lust were robbing her of her senses. Her mental and physical state was already disastrous, and on top of that, weakness had overtaken her existence due to hunger. Her entire being was trembling with fear of Bora. Seeing the rage and the redness of fury in Boray's eyes covered her ears with her hands and shut her eyes tightly. She couldn't bear his roar right now, nor his anger seeing her trembling with fear. Boray stepped toward her in rage, grabbed her by the arms, and yanked her up to stand before him. Dilan's shawl slipped from her shoulders and fell to the ground at his feet. I cannot tolerate you here anymore. If your impure existence stays in my mansion any longer, your blood will be on my hands. I don't even want to stain my hands with your blood. He growled, staring into her blue eyes while jerking her by the arms. To save herself from falling to the ground, Dilan clutched his tank top in her fists. Dilan's lips were trembling. He furiously snatched his tank top from her grip. Before she could fall, Boray caught her by the waist. Dilan's dry lips brushed against Boray's chin. Feeling the touch of Dilan's dry lips on his chin, Boray burned with even more rage. He removed his hand from her waist and pushed her away from him again. Before she could fall again, Boray grabbed her by the wrist and dragged her toward the outside. Dilan kept getting dragged along with him. Brother, she kept screaming in pain. Boray kept pulling her forward. Hearing the name, Yusuf, from Dilan's lips, Boray turned and glared at her with bloodthirsty eyes. She clasped her hand over her mouth at his murderous gaze. This tyrant couldn't bear to hear Yusuf's name from her mouth. Boray dragged Dilan toward the entrance door. Dilan's sobs echoed throughout the entire mansion. If he throws her out of the mansion, where would she go? She was only thinking this in fear. She had no place to go, no one of her own. Reaching the entrance door, he slammed her against the beautiful wooden outer door. Get out of here. Don't let me see your face again. Boray spat the words at her, looking at her with eyes blazing fire. Give me food, I'm hungry, and give me a shawl too. I'll leave. Dilan managed to utter the words with trembling lips. Boray's gaze fell on her existence. She was standing before him, without a shawl. Please give me food. Dilan managed the words with trembling lips. Boray's gaze fell on her. She stood before him disheveled, with flowers smeared in her hair and on her face, looking at him with pleading, sunken eyes. Boray's face flushed red. He clenched his jaw, forcing himself to maintain control, and slammed his fist against the wall. Dilan flinched. Fear made her take a step back and close her eyes tightly. Boray gave her a look full of fury, then turned and strode toward the kitchen. The moment he entered the kitchen, his jaw tightened again. He slammed his fist against the counter. She wanted food, and she was the one who had ruined everything. Why should he give her anything to eat now? He didn't understand it himself. He had only arrived in Anatolia 2 days ago. The fridge held nothing special except meat. Boray clenched his jaw as he looked around the kitchen. He couldn't stay in here with her. He moved toward the kitchen cabinets and yanked open drawer after drawer. Then he saw a few packs of biscuits. He grabbed 3 or 4 and walked out. In the living room, Dilan sat slumped against the sofa, sobbing quietly. When she heard Boray's footsteps, she looked up. Her eyes met his hazel gray eyes, and she immediately shut hers again. Those eyes wouldn't let her forget Yusuf, and she didn't want to hear Yusuf's name from his lips either. Boray stopped in front of her and thrust the biscuit packets at her. Here, eat. Dilan took the packets with trembling hands and tried to open one, but the packet wouldn't open. Her fingers slipped. She looked up at Boray. The redness in his eyes, the fury still burning there, made her panic. In her haste, the packet tore open the wrong way and all the biscuits spilled to the floor. Dilan froze for a second. Then, without a word, she dropped to her knees. Boray watched as she scrambled on the floor, picking up the biscuits one by one with trembling fingers and shoving them into her mouth like she was afraid they'd be taken away. As she fumbled with another packet, her hand knocked against a vase on the low table. Crash! Glass shattered across the floor again. But Dilan didn't stop. She kept picking biscuits from between the shards, cutting her fingers, eating them anyway. Boray stood there, watching his jaw worked. His fists clenched. Damn her. Why did she have to make herself look so small? So breakable? The anger in him cracked. He didn't want her hurt anymore. Not like this. Stop. His voice was low and rough. Dilan flinched but didn't look up. Go to the room now. She didn't argue. She stood up shakily, still clutching a half-crushed biscuit. Boray walked past her to the medicine cabinet, grabbed a painkiller and a small bottle of antiseptic, and pressed them into her hand without touching her skin. Take it, then sleep. He turned and left the room before she could answer. Dilan sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the pills in her palm. Her fingers still bled from the glass. She took the medicine with a sip of water, then lay back.
So guys, don't forget to review in the comment box that how is this story. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for the next episode.